Hey everyone, I am a bit under the weather, so I'm going to keep this short, but I really wanted to make a video because I wanted to kind of visually go through what I'm seeing and what we're looking at for this coming week and just in general. And I've got a couple of lines marked up here, and what is very, very clear to me is that we're still very range bound. Yes, we had this dip outside of this range. I'm going to put this a box here. And then we had a little pop above here, barely, but that was the new high we established just on December 26th. But if we're looking at the movement, majority of the movement's happening in this area. So this is sideways movements. It means that the buyers and sellers, they're still fighting over which direction, and we can stay choppy for a while. I had a thought that this could be part of a distribution phase, which is a phase that happens before we come down into a deeper decline. But we can also just stay sideways until we're ready to go back up. Right now, everything is pretty messy. And even though we see things like this, like mid-October, we climbed up, then we had a significant drop down from there, and then we climbed back up. If you're doing short trades, and I think that that's really only that's really all there is right now, are very 2 to 3 day movements before you get into a little chop or a bounce or a pullback. Anything longer, like we had earlier last year, there's just no support for that. So this has changed my trading a lot I've been doing a lot of intraday trading and not holding positions overnight. So in order for me to be able to hold longer, I want to see a sustained trend, but we're just not getting that. And I don't know if we're going to need to reset, like really digest some more, either sideways or pulling back further before we get a cleaner ride up. So the difference here, you could see the difference of like the way this is building versus like earlier this year, last year. Once we had that big decline down, and then somewhere around this range, mid to end of April, we started to climb up, and this was one of those easy breezy, like anywhere you bought, you were winning. And now we've gotten to this point where there are a few times that I thought we were going to roll over further, and we may still do that, but these little digestions were not enough to give us like a smooth ride up. As you can see here, everything that, so after this candle here, the price set up a little bit of a base and then popped up, but then was sold off again to that point. And now we're here where price popped up, was sold off a little less. So we are this is a new higher high, and this was definitely a new higher low, yeah. And now we're waiting to see if this here is also a higher low, and we're just going to start building up this way. I can't tell you for sure because we need to see what the price does this coming week. What I will tell you though is that even on Friday, you see that wick here and that wick below, that is the tug of war of the buyers and the sellers. So every time we get to about this area, we're having sellers stepping in. And then when we got here on Friday, we had buyers stepping in, which is kind of like, if you see my lines there, I've got those 3 lines, so kind of creates a range on the bottom and then a range on the top. So we were in this bottom range, and now here, will we stay at least up above this midline and start to build up? Not so sure, but I still am trading very short duration trades because this is kind of still in the middle of the noise. Like if we were to break down below this line here, I would be very curious to see how much further down we went. And if we were to break this area up here, so we did pop above, but we didn't hold that area. That's why I'm not too sold on buyers yet. But this could also just be a pop up and a test to the mid area, and then we continue up. Where was I going with this? So to me, based on where we're at on the daily chart, to me, I'm still trading like we are in a range bound environment, which is a choppy environment, which there's no clear direction, and I'm not holding things as long as I typically do. So barely anything is getting held overnight. I'm just taking little bites here and there. And yeah, so let's take a look at really quickly here the hourly. So for next week, I'll point out the daily. So I pointed this out in my last week's newsletter that we pretty much from here, I put these 2 points on, and right there we did bounce from that area. So it's near the moving, this is the 30 and the 50 SMA, and I had that uptrend line from these 2 points here, which we did move up from. So now is that just a technical area that buyers or algorithms stepped in on? Is it for real or not? Why I'm not sure is because we still have that, once we reach the 6,900, we still pull back from there. So coming into this week specifically, it is very hard to predict where we're going without like the market actually starting to do its thing. But I do see little bites here. You see these wicks on the hourly. So you're seeing little bites here to the upside. So if you had taken a position here, in my opinion, I do think we can see it pressing back up. And after we get to this area here around 68.98, then we have to reassess and see if we're going to press further than that. Now, if we open, and because we're still below these are kind of flattening here, but we're still below the moving averages. It is possible that we roll over from here, and then I would be looking to, so essentially, if we break 68.30, then I'd be looking for entries to the downside, because then I think we would probably go down further. Now, if you hadn't taken a position already on Friday and wanted to trade to the upside, I would say just wait, because you want around here, it's either going to pull back or break through. But then if it does break through, you'll have a chance to get in again. So depending on how we open on Monday, you may still have a chance to trade this from here to here if the buying continues. But if we gap up, then you would want to wait. So I think, so here we're at that gap line there. Yeah, I guess that's it, because the main thing I wanted to share is what we're looking at, in my opinion, is still range bound. And these are the big numbers to break. So we broke it here, but we came right back into that upper range. And now maybe the second time's a charm. So we'll want to see here, because see, this is what I mean. So we broke it here, and there was a test, right? So there was potential to buy into the upside here, but then once it started failing, then this line no longer held. So you're getting out of your position there. Now, if we do go up this way again, it'll pop up. Sometimes it doesn't retest, but close, you'll look for areas where you're seeing pull back to the moving averages or some kind of base that actually holds the movement this time versus it failing. All right, that's what I'm seeing. And that is all I can do for the day. Thanks for watching. Bye, y'all.